Alright, this one's called The Darkest Family Guy Episode by Patrick CC.
In the early 2000s, a literal cartoon war broke out. Writers of The Simpsons, South Park, King of the Hill, and Ren and Stimpy were all attacking Seth MacFarlane's Family Guy. But it's not hard to see why they were upset. Family Guy was successful by repeating the same lazy comedic formula over and over again for decades, leading to—
I'm not gonna lie, that's all facts. All I see is the same, either like jokes or skits just being thrown around, and it's just crazy.
9 Primetime Emmy Awards and even a Grammy nomination. With tensions at an all-time high against Family Guy, Seth MacFarlane finally decided to respond to the criticism, and as a result, he created one of the most controversial episodes in animation history. It was so bad that the Fox network refused to air it on live TV, and many lost respect for Seth MacFarlane forever.
Damn, what the hell does food do? Cause god damn.
What about South Park?
They can go to hell.
Seth MacFarlane had a dark sense of humor, and he wanted to push the boundaries in the animation industry. As a kid, he was obsessed with cartoons like the Flintstones and Woody Woodpecker. He would spend hours drawing and studying these classic animated shows. By the time he was 9, he was already publishing a weekly comic strip for his local newspaper. But unlike other aspiring animators who were writing kid-friendly cartoons, MacFarlane's humor was intentionally offensive. He wasn't interested in heartwarming stories. He wanted to stir the pot with edgy jokes.
Did he get any?
And that is a lot. And I think they're still going today. I don't even know anymore.
Trouble for his drawing?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
He was the cartoonist for the school paper, and the character in his cartoon is taking communion. The comment underneath said, "Could I have fries with that, please?"
And Seth can still remember how a local priest reacted to that cartoon.
Dear Seth, shame on you for insulting the Almighty God and those who love him.
After studying animation at the Rhode Island School of Design, MacFarlane caught the attention of Hanna-Barbera Productions with his thesis film, Life of Larry.
Is it too much for a kid to just call his parents if he's going to be out late? You know, I mean, especially in a city.
What the hell is this? The quality on that is crazy.
Like this. It ain't safe, you know, Lois? I mean, even in this apartment. I mean, some nut in his
Is this Family Guy?
underpants could just walk in off the street, bang on the door, and demand God knows what. You guys have any Cheez-Its? Honey, I think we should move.
During his time at Hanna-Barbera, he helped
Why it
write
sound
and
like him?
animate legendary cartoons like Johnny Bravo and Dexter's Laboratory. And while most animators work behind the scenes for years before ever getting the opportunity to share their own projects, MacFarlane just kind of skipped the line. He pitched a crude, low-budget cartoon about a dysfunctional family featuring an alcoholic dad, a talking dog, and a violent baby to various networks, and Fox took a gamble on him. In 1999, Family Guy was born, making Seth MacFarlane the youngest
And they're still winning too. That's what's crazy.
showrunner in television history. But what nobody knew at the time was that this show would go on to change the animation landscape and make Seth one of the most hated men in the industry. Over the years, Family Guy has been
I'm
called
always
many
hearing my
things,
brother
from
just
iconic to
continuously
offensive,
playing
but if
that
there's
shit.
one word that keeps coming up, it's lazy. I enjoy Family Guy because it's something you can watch and laugh at without thinking. It has a formula, and that formula is easy to digest and laugh at without needing to pay attention. It's a good background show, something to listen to when doing something else. If you're going to expect a story, don't try to expect it from Family Guy. That's missing the point. Much of the criticism towards Family Guy is that the show has a repetitive formula, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. A large amount of the episodes are basically Peter does something stupid, Brian and Stewie go on some weird side quest, Meg gets bullied for no reason, and every few minutes they put in a random
somebody just
cutaway
dying.
gag that has absolutely nothing to do with the story.
I thought I could deal with being blind at first, but I don't know. I haven't felt this out of place since that week I lived with Superman.
We must stop Lex Luthor before he irradiates the world's supply of gold.
Hi, sorry, I know you got a meeting going on, but, we are officially running low on Mr. Pibb and Cheez-Its. Just putting it out there, if you're heading to the store later, 800-mile drive for me, like, 5 seconds for you.
Critics believe Family Guy doesn't rely on good storytelling or deep character arcs and instead fires off quick,
Well, I mean, the only
easy,
deep
and
thing they
pointless
had
jokes.
was
Some hit,
when
some
Brian
miss,
dies,
but it
no?
doesn't really matter because the show moves so fast that nobody has time to care. Family Guy's cutaway gags used to enhance enhance the quality of the overall episode, making the show's style unique. But over time, they stopped being objectively
That's
funny and
crazy
became
as clip.
random for the sake of being random.
Peter, when did you become so polite?
Oh, I've been hanging out with Caillou's beta dad. In fact, I'm meeting him at the park to eat unsalted saltines on the swings. I feel like you're wearing
What the hell? They went at Caillou?
what Rachel Maddow would wear to a pumpkin patch.
As the years went on, many thought that the show was using these gags as a way to fill up their time slot and maybe make up for poor
Yeah, I can see
writing.
that.
We know for sure this is how The Simpsons creator Matt Groening felt, because he did not shy away from blatantly making fun of Family Guy in front of their millions of viewers. At the start of 1999,
I'm not gonna lie, I
Family
thought
Guy
they were
made
all
its
chill.
debut on Fox, while The Simpsons was already on
With
its
each
11th
other, I mean.
season. Immediately, the two shows were competing for viewers on the same network, with Family Guy pulling similar numbers to The Simpsons. The Simpsons officially ignited the beef in the episode Treehouse of Horror. In the episode, Homer discovers how to clone himself, but his attempts were not perfect. Some of the clones came out looking off. As the camera pans across the field of cloned Homers, one of them looks like Peter Griffin. Seth MacFarlane realized that this was Groening accusing Peter Griffin of being a copy of Homer Simpson, and that accusation is not too far from the truth.
Yeah, you
The
can see
Simpsons
it.
pioneered
It's a
adult
family.
animation in the mainstream, proving that animated shows could appeal to more than just kids and can oftentimes be edgy and controversial. And the genius behind the show was Matt Groening. Unlike Seth MacFarlane, who had a degree in animation, Matt Groening was just a
Alright, now it's just crazy how all this is just also going on, and then you see this shit happening with the animes. Of people just continuously calling them for kids.
self-taught hobbyist trying to make ends meet with his cartoons. In the late 70s, he was living in Los Angeles, barely scraping by, drawing and selling his own self-published magazine called Life in Hell. After his cartoon got the attention of Hollywood producer James Brooks, who produced talk shows and small TV shows, he asked Groening to make short animated skits for the Tracy Ullman Show, which resulted in Groening creating a batch of characters for these segments
God
called
damn.
The Simpsons.
Here we have Bart Simpson, the young lad who captured the notorious candy store bandit. How does it feel to be a hero, Bart?
Pretty damn good, Phil.
Your family must be proud of you right now.
I bet they're jumping up and down.
What started out as shorts on a sketch comedy show in 1987 quickly turned into a full-length series by 1989, and from the moment it premiered, it was an instant cultural sensation. The Simpsons wasn't just another cartoon, it was the cartoon. The show took the classic family sitcom formula seen in popular shows like The Cosby Show and flipped it on its head. Instead of a picture-perfect suburban family, you had Homer, who is a beer-drinking, insane father that often physically abuses his son. Marge is a tired mother constantly trying to hold the family together. Bart is a preteen-aged menace that lives to cause chaos.
Facts.
Lisa is a misunderstood genius in a messed-up family. And
Yep.
Maggie is a baby who doesn't talk too much but has a lot of personality. And not to mention the people of Springfield, which is filled with seemingly an endless list of side characters that fans would slowly get to know over the years, such as Ned Flanders, Krusty the Clown, Sideshow Bob, Snake, Professor Frink, and so many others. What made The Simpsons revolutionary was how it could go from making fun of politics and pop culture to having genuine interactions that made the characters feel real. Like, these weren't just wacky cartoon characters, they represented people that you knew in your real life. It wasn't just about gag humor, it was about telling great stories that happened to be hilarious, and it worked. By the early 90s, The Simpsons was the most watched show on television, with viewership peaking at 15.
Well, I mean, it's always either The Simpsons and Family Guy. That at least that I know that they're still going on today. I don't know about anything else. Oh, well, I mean, what's the other one? South Park.
To 20 million viewers per episode. Family Guy, on the other hand, was canceled twice in its first 3 seasons, probably because many people felt it was the inferior copy of The Simpsons. However, they came back stronger than ever due to massive DVD sales and high ratings on reruns. The senior vice president of Fox Home Entertainment said, Family Guy had proved an unexpected success on DVD as well. The first boxed set of episodes has sold 1.55 million, ranking number 3 among television shows behind the first season of The Simpsons on Fox and Chappelle's Show on Comedy Central. After the show came back on air in 2005, it dominated, with the fourth season averaging 7.9 million viewers per episode, which at the time was more than twice as many viewers as South Park. And looking back on season 4, it's easy to see why it performed so well.
He takes the beam. The spectators hold their breath, as Stewie Griffin is America's last hope to take home the gold. Oh, did you see that, Mitch? I sure did, Kathy. That was impressive.
Season 4 is called by some peak Family Guy. It was paced well, funny, and just the right amount of offensive. The cutaways were tasteful, adding to the chaos without taking away from the story. And during Family Guy's resurgence in popularity, The Simpsons writers decided it was the perfect time to diss them once again. In season 17, episode 8 of The Simpsons, 2 Italian police officers are flipping through a book of known criminals. As they skip through the mugshots, you can see a picture of Peter Griffin with the crime of plagiarismo, which means plagiarism in Italian. The diss could not be more clear, again claiming that Family Guy is stealing the premise of The Simpsons. They also threw a bonus jab in at American Dad, which is Seth MacFarlane's other show, essentially saying,
how you gonna hate on American Dad? I ain't never see some shit happening with that show.
They are a copy of a copy. And while these jabs feel like The Simpsons play fighting with Family Guy, South Park came out of nowhere
I thought it was play
and dropped
fighting.
an absolute bomb on them. A diss that was so brutal that multiple writers in the animation industry personally thanked them for attacking McFarlane. Matt Stone and Trey Parker were just 2 film school kids from the University of Colorado who couldn't care less about what other people thought of their humor. They both believed that comedy could be as offensive and brutally honest as possible while also having a great story. In 1992, Matt and Trey met on the set of a student project. To pass time in between takes, they would do voices for each other trying to make the other one laugh, and they instantly became best friends.
You do eating sounds? Oh, yeah. That's a cuttlefish and asparagus.
I don't even know what's happening right there.
Cuttlefish and asparagus is not sitting well. Oh no! Cuttlefish is about to come out of my. Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's going to be a rot. Hold on, Kaider. I believe in you.
At the end of every semester, the film department put on a student screening, and
bro was being extra. I don't even know for what.
Since it was right before Christmas, they needed something Christmassy. So Matt and Trey decided to use construction paper cutouts to animate characters and make their first short together called Jesus vs. Frosty, which would lay the foundation for what we now know as South Park. After college, both Matt and Trey moved to LA, where they would meet Fox executive Brian Graydon at a screening of their indie film, Cannibal the Musical. Brian loved their style so much, he decided to help spread their work around the industry. After some back and forth negotiations with companies like Fox and MTV, Comedy Central decided to greenlight the first episode of South Park. Although it is still in the adult animation genre, South Park takes a different approach than Family Guy and The Simpsons. South Park is all about creativity and unpredictability. One week, the elementary-aged kids are dealing with normal school drama, and the next, they're fighting a war against gnomes stealing people's underwear.
The one I can remember the most
is still not
is
even
some
the craziest
alien one.
situation these kids have gotten into.
Do you like it? Do you like it, Scott? I call it Mr. and Mrs. Tenorman chili.
Oh, I remember this, and I think this is his parents, I think.
Oh my God! I made you eat your parents.
South Park instantly turned Comedy Central from a struggling cable network to a network powerhouse, pulling in between 3.1 and 5.5 million viewers per episode.
And I think I see a lot of people just going at them also.
On April 22nd, 1998, the episode Cartman's Mom is Still a Dirty pulled in 6.2 million viewers, making it the highest rated non-sports show in cable history at the time. To put it into perspective, 8 of the 10 most watched shows on cable that spring were South Park episodes. In just over 1 year, Trey Parker and Matt Stone took over cable TV. They also developed a seething hatred for Family Guy. When asked about how he feels about Seth MacFarlane's empire, Trey Parker said, "There's more and more stuff every day finding its way onto American television that I think is really great. But then you get this bubblegum shit that's just like, by the book. What we call 9-to-5 comedy writers. They mostly have families and kids, and that's the most important thing. And then they go into work and write comedy, and when it's 5 o'clock, it's time to go. It's gag humor. And gag humor drives us crazy, where it's just like, here's a gag, here's a gag. It's got nothing to do with what's going on in the show, just like, here's a gag. And anyone who writes comedy knows that that is the...
Yeah, but I like it pretty much more where it actually makes sense with their gags.
Very easiest, simplest thing to do, and you don't really need any talent to do it. You just need to learn the craft and do it. Similar frustrations were expressed by John Kricfalusi, the creator of the iconic cartoon Ren and Stimpy. If you're a kid wanting to be a cartoonist today, and you're looking at Family Guy, you don't have to aim very high. You can draw Family Guy when you're 10 years old. You don't have to get any better than that to become a professional cartoonist. The standards are extremely low.
And I'm not gonna lie, it's just crazy to me, but like that's just everything that has to do with like the American cartoons. It just looks lazy compared to like anime shit, manga. Even the fucking manhwas over there, like their shits are far better than what I'm seeing over here in the US.
In the animation industry were at an all-time high, with more people speaking out against Family Guy than ever. So in 2006, Matt and Trey decided to escalate the tension to a full-blown war. South Park released a two-part episode titled Cartoon Wars. In the episode, Cartman really wants to sabotage Family Guy because he hates their lazy gag writing. As Cartman arrives to the Fox Network writing room, he is shocked to learn that Family Guy is written by manatees who pick random idea balls from a tank. Each ball contains a verb, noun, or pop culture reference, which the manatees choose an idea ball and swim it over to the joke combine. South Park essentially proves how formulaic and ridiculous Family Guy jokes are by assembling 5 idea balls that say laundry, date, winning, Mexico, Gary Coleman.
Peter, you didn't do the laundry today.
You think that's bad? Remember the time I won a date to Mexico with Gary Coleman?
¿Qué pasa, señores? What you talking about, Willis?
See, now that don't make sense at all.
Millions of people around the world witnessed South Park brutally minimize Family Guy's value to the entertainment industry. And it turns out, Matt Stone and Trey Parker were not the only ones in the industry who hated
I'm not even gonna lie, I don't think he cares.
After the first part aired, we got calls from people at The Simpsons saying thank you, because they actually hate Family Guy more than we do, even though they won't say it.
Nah, that's crazy.
And then we got calls from people that work on King of the Hill saying they said, quote, you're doing God's work by ripping on Family Guy. And like, because Family Guy is kind of this, it's like the Justin Timberlake thing. It's like when you're a musician and you're doing your stuff and you're working hard and you're trying to do art, and then Justin Timberlake comes along and just rakes in all the cash and everyone thinks he's awesome. You're like, dude, come on, that's not that good.
Up until this point, McFarlane never really responded to the jabs and criticism towards his show, but this attack was too big to ignore. Ironically, he didn't fire back at South Park. Instead, he shifted his anger towards his original haters, The Simpsons. However, many believe he took it too far, and this joke nearly destroyed his reputation forever.
Take a joke too far?
In a 2007 Family Guy episode titled Moving Out, at the bottom of the screen appears a bumper for The Simpsons, with a miniature Marge waving to the audience. Because both shows air on Fox, this could have easily been mistaken for a genuine promo. Then miniature Quagmire runs over and attempts to essay Marge. She fights him off and dashes off screen, but then Quagmire, with his pants around his ankles, chases after her. Then it cuts to a shot outside of the Simpsons' home where we can hear Marge and Quagmire having sex in the parents' bedroom. Homer then walks in, catching them, shocked. And from there, you can hear Quagmire shoot and kill the entire Simpsons family.
Oh my God.
What the
God.
fuck? What?
Homie, I'm calling the police.
So, Simpsons, R-word, and murder. Yeah, that got dark real fast.
What the fuck was bro cooking? Oh, nah.
It was so brutal, it actually never made it to live TV. The only reason we ever got to see this scene was because it was included in the Family Guy DVD box set. Also on the DVD, Seth MacFarlane does a director's commentary where he discusses this specific scene, doubling down that he feels this joke was not too far and it should have been aired.
I'm not going to be diplomatic.
Well, I mean, they're cartoon characters.
This
but
is
like,
a gag.
Doing that shit is crazy.
I got a call from the network saying you can't do this. You cannot do this gag.
And
with the Simpsons,
they're fictional characters. I can see it, but like that shit is still crazy.
Family Guy like 5 times, which you know, which they're entitled to do. I mean, they make fun of everyone, and so do we. So what's you know, why
Bro said make fun of, and then decided to SA, and then got.
can't we take a little shot at them? And they said, well, because we want to end the feud.
And the feud, bro. What?
What feud? What are you talking
Nah, bro. It's just crazy for saying that shit.
about? I had talked with Matt Groening, who has a wonderful sense of humor about this stuff.
That's a wonderful sense of humor.
You know, there's no feud.
What am I hearing in the back?
We actually have had a couple of writers, Simpson writers, who have written for Family Guy.
This dude's playing it on replay.
I mean, you know, they've taken many shots at us again, all of which have been funny. And Fox said, "Well, this seems a little personal." And I said, "Well, how could it be any more personal than a picture of Peter Griffin on a wanted poster that says plagiarist?"
They made fun of me.
You gonna
Why can't I make
compare
fun of them?
plagiarist to
You
being
shot
God,
my
bro?
baby. Likely due to the network just wanting the beef to be over, both Family Guy and The Simpsons stopped taking jabs at each other for a while. Allegedly, Matt Groening was
They
upset
got a
with
ceasefire?
Seth for many years after this, and although Seth MacFarlane never apologized for this explosive
I
joke,
wanna
he has been
apologize for
very
shit like that,
honest
bro.
about his admiration for The Simpsons
Yeah,
and
bro,
Matt
you coming at me,
Groening.
I'm gonna get at you. I mean, that's a crazy get back, but like,
that's more of
I mean,
a
shit gonna happen.
friendly rivalry. They take shots at us, we take shots at them. Matt Groening is a friend of mine. He's a great guy. That's more of like a, you know, all in good fun kind of thing.
He even wrote a line in a Family Guy episode essentially admitting to stealing from The Simpsons.
Get up. You're on my side of
I
the
mean,
bed.
they all gonna be stealing from each other, bro. Like, what the fuck? Where the fuck do people think inspirations come from?
From the Simpsons.
They seem to make amends by doing an official Simpsons and Family Guy crossover.
Yeah, I
episode
seen
in
that one.
2014.
That's why I thought they
However,
were
there
all
was still
chilling
a
shit.
tiny bit of tension behind the scenes. In the end, everyone from both camps loved it, except maybe Seth MacFarlane. The running theme of the episode was that Family Guy stole everything from The Simpsons. They made this point over and over and over and over. Apparently, at some point, Seth told his staff, "Guys, enough." It's clear that Seth MacFarlane does
Well, I mean, yeah, you can see that also.
hold The Simpsons in high regard, but he also believes he deserves his respect. After all, Family Guy did win 9 Primetime Emmy Awards and is loved by millions of fans around the world. And it's actually because of this
That's facts.
success that the South Park creators are jealous and hold resentment towards him. With Trey Parker saying, "The biggest thing is that you put everything into your show. It's like you've got to die for it. When you're an artist, you've got to say to yourself, this is all that matters. And if it kills me, so be it." And then you have the Family Guy writing staff who come in 9 to 5, write their gags, and go home. But what I absolutely must say to you is that this totally, purely 100% completely comes from a place
Percent?
of
What?
jealousy. Because when we're sitting there in our room, it's 3 in the morning and we're 12 hours from having to air, and we don't
I
have
can see that.
like a
But I mean,
third
that's gonna be
act,
the same
wondering
shit
why we do
with-
this to ourselves. We're just totally jealous of their job. At the end of the day, these shows are all completely different styles of comedy, and whichever one you love the most is just down to personal preference.
Yeah.
And they all will be considered legendary in the history of adult animation.
Well, I mean, all of them are. The shit, they all are.